And here we go. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you all keeping? All well, I hope. What's the weather like? Jean said to us, "How did you find the weather today?" I said, "I opened the door and there it was." So I'll just bring the guys in. Let you see the reprobates. Only two of them in today. We've got Mark, the dude from Bood, and we've got Dale. So shenanigans
I
will
get one
probably
name. I
happen.
get one name. I'm like Prince. I get one name, just known by one name.
Yeah, well, I couldn't spell symbol. Right, guys, I'll put you back in the background and I will let people see what we're going to be doing. What's the picture like, by the way?
So it's usually a graphical construct by which
Oh,
to describe an object.
made up of lots of pixels.
That's it. But other than that, this might be an airplane police squad live.
But surely you don't mean that. Yes, I do. Don't call me Shirley. Oh, it's going to be fun. Right, so what we've got is a piece of ash, and it is around about, where's the thin part? About 1.75 by, what's that? About 11 3/4. So it'll end up about 11 and a half. It is a wee bit off centre. If you notice, there's a light part there and a dark part there. So this has been from the heartwood of the blank, and you can actually see a bit where the bark was there. So this is the sapwood. So we've got different densities there, which is why it's a wee bit off. Make sure everything's missing, and we are spinning that about 700. So I'll just get this turned down to a round. If you could let me know who's in, guys, please.
Do you want to arm wrestle for him, Mark?
I'll do it if you like. I've got the list up. Right, we've got Wood Wizardry by Colin, Ivy Woodshed, Wayne the Woodturner has escaped into the chat, Tommy's Workshop, TJ Turning, Steve Ash, Ruby Clare, Robert Dolman, Pete from Twisted Trees, Paul Lockwood, Mr. Stacey Smith, Mole Valley Maker, Mark Pritchard, Malcolm Douglas, JP Woodwork, Joe Senior, Ian Leonard, Hodgepodge Woodworks, Gav Sadie Woodwork, Ellie Two Meadows, Doug Miller, Di Prout, Circular Wood by Keith, Chris Cox, Brickhouse Craftworks, Barry's Wood Creations, and Barry Fisher. So far, that's all I've got on the list.
Hi guys, how you all doing?
Welcome along.
Oh, Dr. Bob's in.
Hi, Bob.
Young Mr. Page says, "I'm going to take a pointer from Chris Coote." Oh, this might be a bit worrying. I think this is going to be a 4-beer live show. Oh, I can get behind that measure.
He's taking the pointer from Chris Coote. He's not going to shut up.
Haha.
Joe Senior's in.
Hashtag Suffer for Joe.
Suffer for Joe. Is his camera frozen?
He's certainly going to. You were in first. I mean, I carefully positioned myself so I wasn't up first.
Oh, God. Better put the camera back.
Brace yourself. People, if you're of a nervous disposition, please look away.
Yep. I'll apologise in advance. There we go. Sorry.
Hello. There he is. This is the lesser-spotted dude from Beard. His natural habitat is ankle-deep in shavings.
On a sofa.
while gripping tightly upon his tool, which
Yeah,
is
that's
usually a
tonight.
gouge.
That's going to be tonight.
Grippage extraordinaire.
I said to Wayne earlier, I've got the 3 wise men of wood turning as earworms tonight for my live. Got Wayne, Pete from Twisted Trees, and Robbo from Australia.
Can we discuss this wise men part of this conversation? You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know Pete from Twisted Trees, but I feel what we've got is the 3 men of entertaining accents.
Yes.
3 wood turners of entertaining accents. Isn't Pete Welsh?
Don't know. He's in the chat. I dare say he'll answer.
Hello, Pete.
No, Joe, I'm not growing my beard again. I just haven't had a shave yet this morning. Been a bit rough this morning, so I haven't moved much.
Question, while we wait for Wayne, what's the entry requirements to the finger count? Does it count if you were not actually turning, but filming B-roll for a video about turning? No, it doesn't count.
No.
As far as I understand, the criteria is you have to injure yourself on camera, as I understand it.
Or attend hospital because of injury.
Oh, yes. Yes. Did you attend hospital?
Brickhouse, 8 o'clock, GMT. 8 o'clock tonight. Doing a natural edge bowl. Dr. Bob, thank you for dropping in on our meeting yesterday. It was my pleasure. It was very fun, very informative.
It is wood turning club night tonight. I think I've got 2 to be in this evening. Mine, and I've been invited to the north one, which I can't remember what it's called now. Getting ready to move up there.
Brian at Hardwood Turnings in. Brent Beecroft's in. Jennifer Stroughton's in.
I don't believe it. It's not the original. Hard to get. Wait, Jennifer. Whichever Jennifer you really are. What I believe is currently happening is a man from the north of England is inventing swear words because his technology or his internet has gone down. New swear words will be published with the appropriate redactions, which may result in nothing being published, depending how well this is going.
Yes, Jennifer, I'm on tonight.
Are we talking about live here or something else?
Live, yeah. Did anyone see that Sprague wood turning huge walnut bowl? Yes, was huge. Wayne's back. Thank God for that.
I don't know how long for though.
It's dark and the camera's off, mate.
There you go.
Internet went off. First time that's happened in a long time. Right, I've just flattened the back off and I'm just doing my mortise now.
Ben Janning's in. Hi, Ben.
Have there been any questions while I've been away?
I have. One person asked, in terms of durability, do you recommend cotton or spandex underpants?
Oh, cotton.
Righto. There you go, people. Heard it here first.
Delta's in. Mark Thornton's in. Karen Dolman. Douglas Mungham. Somebody else as well, I think. Doug Miller.
Chris Cox has a question in terms of die price. So actually, we've got to get your context on this. Die Prouse is asking questions about Fingers Club membership. Die Prouse says, it's on camera. He's not going to hospital. I can't afford COVID at the moment. I acid the bleeding, so stop the bleeding, I think that would be, and glued the big bit that came off back on. So
nice.
That's in terms of his injury for Finger Club membership.
Yeah, I would say that
Chris
covers it.
Chris Cox says, as a newbie, I fell off the end of the tool rest and smashed my knuckle on the chuck jaws. I glued myself back together with super glue. Do I count for the Fingers Club?
I would say so. Really faster now.
You have an insignificant 71 watching.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming in.
Barry Kitty's in. Hi, Barry.
Mark Stroughton says, Dale, I think you're right. The original Jennifer was cussing in the shed a short while ago.
I can just imagine that.
Wayne, can I chuck a link in, please, from my...
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Thank you.
Carry on. Feel free. Feel anybody you like.
Well, we've only got 2.
There you go, Brickhouse. That's my channel. Joe, it's a piece of ash. Wayne's turning. Thank you, Brickhouse. Very kind of you. Pete from Twisted Tree says he's just discovering just how much extra mess an Arbotech can help him make.
I thought it was baked, you were going to say there. I find that Arbotech particularly good at stripping the chicken.
Well, I'm going to bring another book out from the house and I forgot. Okay.
Andy Heath's in. Hi, Andy.
Hi, Andy.
I'm just going to say right now, I'm not munching Jaffa cakes. I have been brought a plate of extraordinarily spicy chicken for lunch from my beautiful lady.
Very nice. Old Alley Maker's in. Hi, Mo.
Steve Ash says, while I've been turning, I've discovered a hidden talent. That talent is creating hamster bedding.
Yep.
Right, I'm just going to do a finish and cut with my, where's my camera? That one. 1/4 inch ball gouge.
Right, Mike the Midnight Joker's in, and Mark Prickard's got a question for you, Wayne.
Yeah.
The lathe you're using now, is it bolted down?
No. No, it's not bolted down. It's very, very heavy. It's got a nice big solid cast bed, and it's also got cast legs as well. I do have the option of bolting it down, but I never know if I'm going to move it about. So I'm just going to do a very fine finishing cut. There'll probably be a bit of chatter.
Brian, the wood's ash. A piece of ash. Pete Fuller's in from Lincolnshire.
So whenever I do a finishing cut, I always try and do it in one go. That's quite nice. I'm not bothered about this inclusion here. I don't know if it'll end up showing through on the top, but I'm not overly concerned if it does. It's got some nice grain in this, but I am going to be painting it. Certainly the top I'm going to be painting anyway.
Mark Pritchard says, thanks, Wayne. He's got the same lathe and stand arriving tomorrow.
Grand. Now, I don't remember with mine. I think you may well get height adjusters for the legs on the 406. I can't remember if I've got them with this or not. If I did, they've probably been put away somewhere. But you can't. I'm sure they come with height adjusters on the legs. If it's at a decent height and you want it bolted down, there are holes in the cast legs to actually do that. And there's also on this lathe there are two areas. Where's my hand? There. Two areas directly below the bed. Put the overhead on a second. There's two areas under here where you can actually put shelves on as well.
He says that it does come with the height adjusters.
Yeah.
Question on the subject of stands. Is the record stand for 320 any good? I'm not sure I can answer that one. I'm not sure anyone can answer that one. If anyone's got one out in the chat, please let us know. Among my wife's many talents is the ability to make extraordinarily spicy and beautiful food. This is delicious. Just thought I'd share. If anyone's not hungry, trust me, this would make you hungry.
Stop there, Neil. Okay.
Yeah, shut up.
I think that's quite enough of that.
Steve Ash got a question for me. How did the modification to my banjo go? I'm still waiting for it to arrive. It's been ordered.
I'm too far away from Deal to just pop round the corner and start eating these spicy chicken.
Oh man, this is lush.
Annoying.
We'll fix that in a couple of years.
I had spring rolls with my own chili sauce last night.
Yum.
Yes, it was.
The fake Jennifer Stroughton is in the chat.
Sorry, I missed that.
Fake Jennifer
fake
Stroughton.
Jennifer Stroughton is in the chat.
Who's done that? That's brilliant.
God, I lost me 240 for a minute there.
I will do that right now, Terry.
There is a number of Jennifers in the chat, legitimate or not. There is a Jennifer Stroughton, and there is a fake Jennifer Stroughton. We have yet to encounter the original Jennifer Stroughton.
She's probably still in the workshop shouting.
I imagine words like bother and
oh dear,
and tis a buggeration.
There's the link for TJ Turning, Terry Bray's premiere this afternoon.
This is Chestnut Products acrylic sand and sealer I'm spraying on here. Just wipe off the excess. It does dry very quickly.
Douglas Mungham, don't ask Dale questions like that because he'll tell us.
Well, Douglas, I am having. My wife hails from Malaysia by birth. She's of Chinese descent and was steeped in the multiculturalism of that country, fair country, where Thai, Indian, Chinese, and local cuisine all collide. So she makes an absolutely to die for spicy chicken meal, which I'm having right now. It is lush, absolutely lush.
I'm sure I told him to shut up.
I hate you right now.
I was answering a question. It was a question.
Okay, Neil, I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you.
Lewis, the Klondike Craftsman's in. He
Hey,
says
Lewis.
19 minutes late and Wayne is already in to finish. Fast Jedi.
You know, only said that because I'm jealous of Sin Jill.
Yes, sir. I mean, the cooking is definitely a moment. Definitely a moment.
Right, I'm going to have some bother with that inclusion. It's going to catch the the paper towel and probably hold on to it.
This is quite literally a lunchtime live for me. Brian Hartwood says, sounds delicious. I could do with a bit more description on the ingredients. I might get into trouble, Brian.
Wayne, can you mute Dale?
No. He's just making me hungry. I haven't had my lunch yet. So I've got a fair idea what I'm going to be doing when I get in the house.
Brian Anderson's just joined. Hi, Brian.
I think I'll be doing some extra spicy chicken noodles when I get in.
Do it. Big fan of spicy chicken noodles. We get whenever we do prepackaged stuff, we get those mania noodles or volcano noodles, where the chicken in the front of the packet is crying.
Oh,
The
yeah.
actual image they've done on it.
Turn the speed up a
Valley
bit.
Maker tells us he's having spicy chicken fajitas.
JP says, Wayne, a case of wine isn't lunch. Lol.
Well, it is in this house.
Hodgepodge is saying, now Dale, you can blame a sticky keyboard in this chicken rather than other reasons. Well, the other reasons are resin, usually. But I take your point.
There we are. That's the Yorkshire brick worked in. And now I'll just put a finish on. And today we're going to be using...
That's got some pretty grain in it.
It has, but it seems a shame to colour it, but...
It's not like you to be controversial, Wayne.
Yeah. I know. The finish I'm using today is Hampshire Sheen. Changed the name on this, didn't he? Gloss Finishing Wax. That's what I'm using today. Give that a quick buff.
Ian in the shed's just joined. Hi, Ian.
Hi, Ian. Now, if you are using, I think most paste waxes, but certainly with Hampshire Sheen, if you're using Hampshire Sheen and there are voids and inclusions within the wood, you're as well spending the time picking the excess wax out, because it will turn white. Plus I've got some paper towel in there as well. There we are. That's the bottom finished.
Terry said,
Mike could get a.
Oh.
Sorry, go on.
I said,
I was going to answer the same thing and run with it. Go
oh,
on.
no, you're better at it than me then.
Okay, so Terry says, from TJ Turner says, Mike Walt will be turning in his bus. Well, you know, we have this vision of, well, I mean, he's clearly turning occasionally, maybe the odd left, maybe the odd right, but a wood turning bus might be a cool thing for Mike. You know, 2 skills in one.
I'd love something like that.
You could say,
cool.
The lathe on the bus goes round and round.
Have you had your meds?
Yeah.
Mind you, you wouldn't want to be turning any goblets on the bus. Otherwise, there's going to be broken windows all over the place. Right. I'll get some of the dirt off this first.
Mark's got to go. Got to go. Sorry. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. And you, Mark.
Take care, Mark.
And you. Wayne, you've got a pitiful 78 watching.
Excellent. Thank you.
What you got to remember is, people, I'm allowed to make bus driving jokes because I was a bus driver. Robert Dolman's got a question.
Yeah.
Does anyone have opinions about bolting the lathe down and the effect of that on the spindle bearings?
Right.
Are you suggesting?
When I had my Poolwood 2840, which I actually had across the other side of the workshop, that came with a pressed steel base. Let's put back on the main camera. That came with a pressed steel base in sort of a U shape, but standing vertically, if you know what I mean. And it had a bench in the bottom, and the top bench was filled with sand and gravel to help with the weight, but it would take some pretty hefty stuff. So I actually had some, well, they weren't tripods, some sloped legs to fit on the back, which attached to the floor. So it was held down and it was bolted to the floor. And I never found any problem with the spindle bearings whatsoever, to tell you the truth.
In principle,
I don't see why you should.
In principle, the vibration that would be generated by spinning off axis would be made worse if the lathe generated more vibration because of its legs. So if you fixed it down, it would be you'd be transferring that load and it would be shaking at the top depending on what it was made from. But if it's a heavy lathe, that vibration is contained and damped much better. So the effect on the bearings would be as they're protected. So bolting down a light lathe might just make it worse. And bolting down a heavy one, apart from a VB36, might be unnecessary. It damps it out better.
Paul Lockwood does make a good point. He says he prefers not to bolt the lathe down, as you know, when it's being pushed to the upper limits. So it's kind of like, I would imagine, like an inbuilt safety
I
thing.
think you'd get that anyway.
Well, you see, the thing, if you've
know,
got something totally out of balance and you turn it too fast, it doesn't really matter if the lathe is bolted down. You're still going to get the
No.
lathe shaking.
Exactly.
Right.
The lathe is
I
still
see.
going to shake about.
But it's much more about that undamped vibration that have an effect on the bearings.
Okay.
I mean, as to the VB, I don't have my VB bolted down either. But Glenn's actually got his VB. He had that, I can't remember if it was a foot or 18 inches dug out around the VB, and has got concrete in there.
Rebar.
I think it's reinforced concrete, so it's got rebar in there, and the bolts that actually bolt the VB down go all the way to the bottom of the concrete. And we've still had that. We still had the VB shaking or moving a wee bit when we had the big ball on there.
Question for you there, Mark. What are you doing tonight?
Just answered it in the chat.
Isn't Mark Stroughton in the chat too? Though I mean,
It could
actually,
have been
hold
for
on a
him.
minute. Is it to you? Actually, is it actually a question directed at the other half? The wee white shite is outside barking at the world.
You can hear him.
I will be sanding this one to 400. See, I don't like the grain on the top of this. It's very dirty because this part's been exposed to the air a hell of a lot, and it's got a lot of dirt ingrained in the grain. So I'm pleased I'm going to colour it.
So wasn't it really weird? Would you be? Oh, Mark Stoughton. No, she ain't talking to me now after my silly name change. The culprit has been discovered.
All right.
Jennifer Stroughton's in the chat. Barry says if he doesn't have his his WL 370 bolted down, it would pin against the wall. Quite possibly, since we'll call it being quite a light machine.
Well, I've got the 370, haven't I? Yeah. Mine's not bolted down, but it does sit on a piece of carpet, and it does have a lot of wood on the shelf.
So the takeaway, I think, for everyone on this one would be you protect your bearings by damping out unnecessary vibration. However you choose to do that, by either having a bigger lathe or by adding extra mass to the lathe is always a good idea. But the effect, I would imagine, on a craft lathe would be marginal over time. If you're a pro turner, it might show up a lot earlier.
Neil Gold's just joined. Hi, Neil. How you doing, mate?
Question from Benjamin.
Yeah.
Do you find that when you're using a single screw plate or a screw chuck, it can be so hard to unscrew the piece after waxing that you end up marking the finish with the friction of your paws? He actually used the word hand, but I thought I'd run with that a bit.
Can do. What I would suggest on that one is actually putting some paste wax onto the threads of your screw. Oh, bugger. piece of Scotch-Brite I just picked up there. That's some wood staying on it.
Folks, we're having a discussion earlier about how people might move on from this world. I think we've just heard the sort of phrase that Wayne might emit in 20 or 30 or 40 years when he goes simply, oh bugger. It stops.
Right, I'm just knocking back the sand and sealer with orange, what's it called? Nyweb? I still call it Scotch-Brite, something like that.
I call it web racks.
Web racks. Yeah, this has got the equivalent grit of around about 1,000. So that's just knocked the. Oh, there's still a wee bit there. I can feel.
Midnight Joker.
Well.
Oh, apologise. Hodgepodge is saying, so you're saying apply lube to it before you screw it.
Yeah.
Young Mike, the Midnight Joker, has a question. He says, on metal lathes, you can get movable counterbalances for offset, off-balance turning. Is there an equivalent for wood lathe?
Yes. Basically, you make something.
Young Paul Lockwood goes on to say, question, did Wayne look into the wood dye from bulges? I've just uploaded a video.
I've had a look, and I'm probably going to order some.
The fake Jennifer Mark Stroughton. Robert D, there's only one Jennifer Stroughton, and I'm blessed to have her in my life. Oh, recovery at work. Recovery at work.
See, the thing is with Jennifer and Mark, especially in the Wood Turning 360 meetings and demos, that Mark usually gets relegated to one of the chairs in the living room because Jennifer is basically taking over the settee.
Hashtag sofa for Mark.
Right, so that's been sanded to 400. It's had acrylic sand and sealer on. It doesn't matter, you can use what sand and sealer you prefer when it comes to this type of thing. Now I'm going to use Chestnut's Ebonizing lacquer. You can use gloss paint. What's the company you use, Dale?
Cobra. Cobra spray paint. I sourced almost predominantly from Graph City. So you can get it from other vendors.
Yeah, Graph City. They're based in Wales. It seems they're very good to deal with. I haven't dealt with them yet, but I may well do. Right.
Decent bunch of punters.
Move that there. Now, whenever you're spraying, it's always best to start at one side, off the piece, go across and finish at the other side, off the piece. And I'll turn it around 90 degrees and do it again, just to make sure I'm getting full coverage. Now, you're often better having the likes of sycamore or beech to do this with, because sycamore and beech are quite close grained. There's a bit that I've missed at the edge here. I'm not really concerned about that because I might actually cut in a wee bit when I come to do the finishing. So I'm going to let that dry. What I'll do is pop it. I'll turn the speed down first. Remember to turn the speed down. I'll pop this back on the lathe.
Young Pete from Twisted Trees says, an Arbotech is very efficient at removing wood. Oops.
It is very efficient, Pete. I love the Arbotech. for texturing, for digging stuff out, for making. Mark and I were talking about the bowl he's doing tonight. He's doing a natural edge bowl tonight. And we're talking about how it's initially going to be held. Mark's going to be holding his between centres. What I tend to do is use the Arbitech with the wood carving blade and put a flat on the top. So I can either use my usual mortise in the top or a screw chuck or a faceplate.
Young Jennifer goes on to say Mark has a sofa, but hers is the biggest sofa. Yes. Seth from Brickhouse says, I just realised Mark said he was a bus driver. Mark Wall was a bus driver. Emma Cook is a truck driver. It's almost as if wood turning people are obsessed with things that go around.
We are.
Paul says, this is a great demo as to why Wayne's lathe has more colour and paint on it than dust.
Malcolm Douglas asks,
this lathe is about half an inch bigger. Certainly the headstock is about half an inch bigger than when I first got it, because it's got layers of paint and layers of dust in between the paint.
Malcolm's asking, why didn't you spray the black while it was on the lathe, rotating slowly?
Because I find it easier to actually do it when the piece is flat. That's the only reason.
Benjamin asks, Emma, is a truck driver what, like big trucks?
Yep, like big trucks.
Class 1.
A big truck driver. Yep.
James Pritchard says he used to be a tractor driver. Seth says Dale should have been wood turners, not wood turning era. Stupid autocorrect. Lol. Hashtag sofa for Mark, says Joe Senior.
If you're going to check if your ebonizing lacquer or paint is dry, always check in an area that you're going to turn away later.
Barry Chitty says he was an excavator operator. And Neil Gold says he's a trucker too.
I used to drive trucks. I've got my class 1.
Hodgepodge says, I wonder how many phone books she has to sit on to see over the steering wheel. Shame on you, Hodge.
That's a terrible thing to see.
I'm sure she's got the appropriate equipment to make that possible.
I moved from being a truck driver to a bus driver because I wanted the cargo to get on and off itself. I didn't want to have to keep offloading.
Paul Lockwood says, I usually sit behind a desk pushing keys all day. Not all work, but pushing keys nevertheless. Pete goes on to say, I'm making a natural edge shot vase / deep bowl. Used a Forstner bit to make the flat spot to get between centers to start off with. Okay.
That's what I'm going to do, Pete.
Lewis says, I drive my wife crazy.
Oh, yeah. I've done that for years.
I feel that situation is always best encompassed by the decision that Holly made in Red Dwarf not to bring back his girlfriend or his best friend. He brought back Rimmer to keep to keep him sane rather than bringing back his best mate.
So today I am using Joe Sonia's iridescent paints. I'm going to be using gold. Can't actually see the label on that. I'm going to be using green, and I'm going to be using violet. Now the thing, you've got to be very careful when you're using Joe Sonia's paints. Number one, you don't need a lot. It tends to go a long way. Number two, when you pour them out either into a pot or onto something like this, they are all the same colour. They all come out a creamy colour. So you've either got to remember which paints you're putting where, or actually put the pot behind them. And that's the gold. That's the violet. Is that a new pot?
You have a absolutely tragically small 81 watching, sir.
Oh, my life.
It's fantastic for a Monday.
No, it's not. Don't give him ideas. Should be thousands. Put your finger out, Glasper.
Yeah. Right, so that's them there. And where's me cling film gone? For those of you in the States, I believe this is called saran wrap. And what you do is you just get your piece of cling film, give it a nice scrunch up. I'll start off with the violet. And we're just going to have some swirls going around. Whenever you're using, or if you are going to use Joe Sonia paints, there are various outlets, but you can buy them, certainly if you're in the UK, you can buy them direct from Joe Sonia UK. They have got a Facebook page which will direct you to the shop. Leave a comment or send them a quick email if you buy them and tell them that you got them because I give you the idea. Lynn at Joe Sonia UK does tend to support my channel. If you're in the States, these are produced in the States, I believe, and they're made by Chroma.
I've just put the link in for you, Wayne.
Grand, thank you. Put that gold on a wee bit thick there, but not to worry. I can easily spread that about. It doesn't matter if these paints mix up when you're doing this. It just adds to the effect. And I'm just giving it, all I'm doing is giving it a quick swirling motion when it goes onto the piece. I'll do the green next.
Colin asks, Wood Wizardry by Colin asks, what causes the colour change? That's fascinating.
Right, what causes the colour change is that when you're using the Joe Sonia iridescence, it's classed as an interference paint. And what you need to have is a dark background. I usually use black, but it doesn't really matter. You can use other, like a dark blue or something like this you can use. And it's just the way the paint is made up. Once it starts drying out and reacting with the dark, it gives this shadowy effect, which is really, really smart.
What happens, tiny bit more extension, when the actual transport medium evaporates off, what it does is it allows, exactly as Wayne says, the interference. In other words, when the light's striking the material that gets left behind, it starts to pick up the vibrance before it. So the transport medium prevents the reflection taking place, but as that evaporates off, the material itself is triggering the color, reflects appropriately, and you see the color.
You can actually see that there's quite a lot of creamy bits on there. It's bleaching out a wee bit there. Oh, that's terrible. I'll show you at the end.
Not too bad, actually.
It's pretty good, mate. And you can see as it's flashing off now, you can really see the color starting to build up.
I'm just adding a bit more violet.
The clever bit with Joe Sonia's is how cleanly that transport medium, if it flashes off, so you wind up with as much of the color as possible.
You can do various effects with this. If you haven't seen a lot of my videos, please go back and have a look. I do a string pull effect with this by making sort of leaves for plants. I do another string pull effect where I do feathers. I've used blooms. I've used blown up rubber gloves. But we'll not go too far into that one. What else have I used? Oh, the non-slip
Cheryl things.
matting that you get. The non-slip matting. I've used that for doing paint effects.
Showery
You can
stuff.
use just about anything.
Yes. Yes.
Brent Beecroft's in. Hi, Brent.
Silicon shower scrubs. I've used them as well. Right, I'll pop this back on the lathe and start spinning the lathe again. Take the spindle out.
Wood turning by Brandstrup. Hi, wood turning by Brandstrup.
I'll just quickly plug in my hot air gun. Right, whenever you're going to use a hot air gun, always point it away from the piece first when you start it up. That way, if there has been any dust collecting inside, it doesn't get blown straight onto the wet paint. You don't have to have the hot air gun too close. And I just have it on, this is a 2 heat setting one. I have it on the first heat setting. You don't want to get the paint really hot, otherwise it can and probably will bubble as it dries. Although saying that, you can get some really good effects by having the paint bubble as well.
Paul Lockwood says he thinks the string pull art is the best amazing example of these paints.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Paul. I absolutely love it. I really do.
And Wood Dude says, hi everyone, I'm super late as per usual. Hi Wood Dude. And of course, Wood Dude, thanks to Rob CP, we all know who you are. You're not anonymous anymore. Glenn's in. Hi Glenn.
Hi, Glenn. Right,
Hello,
Glenn, I did use Yorkshire grit on the bottom of the bowl, Glenn. Yes, I have coloured the top, but I've used Yorkshire grit on the bottom.
He did, Glenn, honest.
Right. While that's drying, I just want to show you something. Right, what I've got here is just a small ash bowl, which is part finished. It's something I've been messing about with. A different way of doing texturing. This ash is particularly hard. This would work really well on sycamore. It would work really well on the likes of silver birch, beech, and things like this. But this ash is pretty hard. So, texturing. If you haven't got a texturing tool, and you don't want to pay the price for buying a texturing tool, there we have a wood screw, okay? And there we have a hammer. Basically what you do is place the wood screw on the piece and give it a smack. Going around like that. I don't know if this will show up very well. Whereabouts is it? No, that's out of focus. But yeah, you do actually cause some texture on the piece, which is, it's quite a nice effect. Just something a bit different if you can't afford a texturing tool. Oh, I'll tell you what, and while this is still drying, Paul was saying just there about the string pull effect. So this is the type of thing he was talking about. So this is a little vase out of ash that
That's
I did
gorgeous.
a while back. So you've got again, I'm very fond of green, violet and gold. So there's a green sort of leaf type flower thing there. There's the violet one. And there's the gold one. Another good thing you can do with this is actually use an airbrush, but without any paint or stain in it. So you're just using the air. And what you do with that is you put the paint on and you actually blow it about. First, I think it was first done by a turner from the north of Scotland, up in Inverness, I believe he is, called Gary Lowe. And it was coined the cosmic cloud effect. Next weekend, next Saturday, we've got the virtual crafty.
I think it's this Saturday coming. It's this Saturday coming.
Oh, this Saturday coming. Sorry, this Saturday coming, the 21st, I believe it is.
Yep.
We've got the virtual crafty show on, which is good. It's on for 16 hours, starting at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. UK time, going through to 2 a.m. Sunday morning UK time. There's 16 makers, each maker doing an hour a piece. I'll be on there, Scott's on there, Dale's on there. Is Andy on as well?
Andy's on there.
Andy's
JP.
on. JP will be on there.
Carl. We have a
Carl
whole bunch
Jacobson
of people.
usually finishes off. I think we've got Robbo on from Australia. Cammy's Garage is on. Emmett's on from Dreadnought. Is it Dreadnought?
Have you got the link you could throw in?
No,
Dale.
we haven't.
Already done.
Oh, it's already done. Right. We've got a glass blower coming on as well. So it's going to be an absolutely brilliant day. And the piece I'm
Heidi
doing.
Jacobs.
Heidi's on as well, doing some pottery. And the piece I'm doing is going to be a Cosmic Clouds bowl. Again, I'll be using
the website. Sorry, my bad.
No, I'll be using a piece of ash. It'll be thinner than this, and it'll be a bigger diameter, so I can get more effect from the Cosmic Clouds.
We're updating the website later today with the running order and who's in. But have a look. Make sure you get bookmark that website. All the updates, including the links to the individual shows, will be posted there by close of play today. Now the running order's settled. Check it out. I know the guy that's doing the updates for it. I can assure you they'll be ready today.
Is he a villainous rogue?
He's a rascal, a bit of a Scottish rascal. Not quite the Rob Roy type.
Right, I've got, you see all these creamy parts here? All these creamy parts are the bits where the paint hasn't actually dried. Now, what I don't want to do is start turning the bowl out of this while I've got paint on here that's still wet. So I'm just going to flatten them out a bit. And what I'll probably do on this, I'll get the bowl done. I'll probably just finish it. I won't finish it. All I'll do is is turn the bowl out. I'm going to take a bit off the edge. I'll turn the bowl out, but I'll only do a tool finish just so we can, so you can actually see the effect. Then a bit later on, I'll get it sanded up and get some photos done. Turn the speed up. Get that tool rest a wee bit closer. I'm just going to go in. That's it, just to give it some distinction, if you like. And I will use my diamond carbide tool and just move the tool rest back a wee bit.
Dennis Beamish has just joined. He says sorry he's late, but he'll catch up off the live. Hi, Dennis.
I'm just going to mark that in there. I'll mark it there, and I'll mark it where I'm going to start the bowl, which will be about there.
Barry's had to go. See you later, Barry. Sorry, Dale, what was that?
The famous one last cut.
Yeah.
Right, small gauge, just want to go in on there. That's better. Right.
Lewis says, for anyone new, this is Wayne's first time using a bowl gouge. Ha ha.
Right, I'll pop this off. I can get this finished up at a later date. Perhaps if you turn that the right way. Change camera. Have a sit down. See if I can get this shown without any glare. Come back this way.
Stunning.
That's the sort of effect.
That's gorgeous.
It'll show up better in the photographs. It'll not take as long. It'll only take us minutes view to finish this off. What I'll do with the middle, I will get that sanded, sand and sealer, and I will be lacquering the top of this. But that's turned out not too bad, not too shabby.
Awesome as usual.
It's just a shame the lighting doesn't pick it up right, but it'll get picked up right when I do the photo of it. Right, guys, that's us for today. Just my usual, just over the hour. I'm trying to get it on Saturday, seeing as how everybody's on for an hour. I want to try and get the piece on Saturday done in around about 45 minutes. So that'll give people a chance once I've finished, so they can bugger off and get a cuppa, use the toilet, or whatever, before the next person comes on.
So you're just going to be going at half speed then, as usual?
I'll just be going at half speed on Saturday.
Yeah, all right. People don't realise how much we have to slow you down for these lives, do they?
No. I could have took longer. I mean, when the internet went off right at the beginning, I could have stopped what I was doing and just waited until it came back. But no, I just carried on turning.
Yeah.
Secretly, folks, Wayne isn't actually live. This is very carefully scripted. He finished 20 minutes ago, and we have been carefully sequencing in parts of this. That's why the questions slow down, kind of thing. We have to voice them back in for that particular point.
He's already in the house, halfway through his first bottle of red wine.
Yeah, I mean, he's making spicy chicken.
Oh yeah, spicy chicken.
Cool.
I'll definitely be going to do that. Right, guys. Thanks very much for coming in again. Mark's on tonight doing a natural edge apple bowl. Did you say somebody's got a premiere on, Mark?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. Terry, I think.
Terry. Oh, right. He's just put it there. His premiere's on at 2:30 UK time.
Yep, so 25 minutes.
Yeah, so Terry's on then. Mark's on tonight at 8. Tomorrow, we've got Circular Keith by Wood at lunchtime doing a... what's he doing? He's doing a wand. Tomorrow night, we have Rich the Beard on. Also, Martin Sabin Smith is doing a live tomorrow night as well. I think Martin might start a wee bit earlier than 8 o'clock, but Rich the Beard is on at 8 o'clock. I am going to be watching Rich because I was in on Rich's live last week when he was doing the resin pour, which he's finishing off this week. He's going to get that turned this week, so I think I'll be tuning in to Rich to see how that gets finished off, because it looked amazing when he put it in resin last week. Wednesday, I don't know if anybody's doing a Wednesday lunchtime at the moment. I'll be back Wednesday night. Thursday, Steve SK does a live if he's not working. Scott working this week.
Yes,
he is. Wednesday. Wednesday's working this week. So Scott may well do a live on Thursday night. Rich the Beard will have an invasion. I'll be back Friday. Friday night, Ruben usually has a premiere. Steve SK Crafts will be on at about 7:45. Stace is on at 8 o'clock. And Saturday, Ed will be on live. I'm not very sure if Emma's on live on Saturday night, but it's the crafty weekend as well.
No, she's gone back to her fortnightly routine now.
All right, she's gone back to her fortnightly routine. Okay. So we've got the craft weekend thing on Saturday, which should be good. It usually is. There's been 2 up to now, and they've both been good. So, right, that's it. I'm going to hit the button. Thanks everybody for coming in.
Brilliant live, Wayne.
Oh, right. Oh, Di is on a Saturday evening at 6 o'clock.
Cool.
You just put it in the chat there. Grand Di. Right then. See you all soon. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.